Mike and Pinky Find a Home by Uncle Amos. Father and Mother Turtle lived in a pond surrounded by a field. They had two children named Mike and Pinky. Mike was older and liked to daydream. He and his grandfather, who was also named Mike, often walked together in the woods. Pinky had a beautiful pink spot on his shell that he was quite proud of. All of the creatures who lived in the field said they could see Pinky coming for miles. The little turtles loved the pond and the field. Mother and Father Turtle fed them and taught them to play games together. Mike and Pinky had many friends in the field and the woodland. They loved to frolic in the field all day and sleep in their safe pond at night. But one day Mike saw many big machines drive into the field. There had never been machines in the field before. The machines carried lumber and tools and big men who didn't care about turtles. The men built a house right on top of the turtles' home. "That's not our home anymore," said Mike. "Look," Pinky said, "more are coming." As Mike and Pinky watched, 16 bulldozers built a new road right through their field. When the machines were gone, the turtles could barely recognize the place where they had grown up. "Where will we live now?" Mike cried. But Father and Mother Turtle were gone, and their woodland friends were nowhere to be seen. "We'll have to find a new home," Pinky told him. "Let's not lose hope. There must be a place for us somewhere." Mike and Pinky had never been out of the field before. The rest of the world was very big and very scary. The people they met weren't like their forest friends. Usually nobody even noticed the two lost little turtles. Mike and Pinky missed the pond and the field. They missed Father and Mother Turtle, too. After they had walked for a long time, the little turtles found a tiny house in a yard. It was pink and blue, and a wooden sign at the top of the doorway read Primrose. "Primrose is a nice name," Mike said. "Maybe whoever lives here is a nice person. Maybe they will let us stay here for a while." But as he spoke, a giant black dog jumped out of the house. "What are you doing here?" the dog growled. "This is my place." Mike and Pinky were very frightened. They ran out of the yard, over a hill, across a road, and under a fence before they finally stopped to catch their breath. "Maybe not there," Pinky said, puffing. The next day, Mike and Pinky found a much bigger house. This one was made of glass and steel. A brass sign on the wall read Bank. There was a little room next to the sign. It had a blue carpet that reminded the little turtles of their pond. It also had a set of fine metal doors that opened to let people in and out. "Do you think we could live in there?" Mike asked Pinky. "Let's see," Pinky said. They climbed into the room and found that it was warm and pleasant. "It is very comfortable, but how do we close the doors?" Even when they stood upon one another's shoulders, the turtles were too short to reach the elevator's buttons. The doors stayed open. "I'm sorry, Mike," Pinky said sadly, "but this isn't a very good home either." "Let's keep looking," Mike told him. "There must be a place for us somewhere." The next day it rained very hard. Mike and Pinky were cold and wet. "I want to go home," said Mike. "Me too," said Pinky. They walked until their feet were so sore that they couldn't go another step. Suddenly Mike saw a little hole under a hill. It was just the right size for two wet turtles. Mike and Pinky squeezed inside and went right to sleep. In the morning, Mr. Mole found the two little turtles. They were sleeping in the entrance to his hole. "Wake up!" he shouted, poking Mike with his big paw. "Wake up! You're in my doorway, and I can't get into my house." "We're sorry, Mr. Mole," Pinky said, "but we were so tired. We didn't mean to block your door." "We have no home," Mike added. Mr. Mole laughed. "If you ask me," he said, "you don't know how lucky you are. Why, if I carried my house on my back, I'd always be home, no matter where I went." Pinky looked at Mike's shell. "Mr. Mole is right. Our shells make perfect houses." Mike pulled his legs into his shell. Then he pulled in his head. "It's very cozy," he reported. "I like that." Pinky also found that his shell suited him perfectly. "How wonderful to have a place to live," he sighed. Mike said, "Now we have houses, and as long as we have each other, we'll always be home." And the two little turtles were never lost again. Mike and Pinky Find a Home by Uncle Amos. Narrated by Rick Schultz.